Hello, tonight my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and we're speaking with singer Brad Thomas. Brad, you're the lead singer from a Bad Company tribute band based out of Arizona, and you guys are called Soul on Fire. So how long has the band been together?
Actually, we've been together for about 8 months.
Okay, and I guess the best place to start off with is if you could share with us how you first got into the music of Bad Company.
Well, I've always been a huge fan of Paul Rogers and Bad Company, and I was playing in a Black Crowes tribute with Greg, who's one of the guitar players, and it was kind of petering out like bands do. And I said to Greg, you know what, we need to start a Bad Company tribute, and he was like, yeah, that sounds good. So I looked around and I really didn't see any real Bad Company tributes. Or the ones I did see, really, I didn't think represented the band that well. I didn't think they were true to how they looked or how they really sounded. So we decided to fill the gap. And we started this, and we got his neighbor Mitch on board, who plays bass, and he had played in a lot of bands in the San Francisco Bay Area where I'm from. And then we got Nick Sterling. I don't know if you know who Nick Sterling is. He's Sebastian Bach's old guitar player.
Oh, yes. Okay, wow.
Chief Rick, Bad Company, Alice Cooper. He's played with everybody you can think of. He's
wow.
Amazing. He's a 24-year-old phenom. And got a drummer, Chuck, from a Led Zeppelin tribute band he was playing in, and we started playing the Bad Company stuff, and it kind of took off. We sounded like him, we looked like him, and it just kind of worked out for us.
And so let me ask you, what was it like going from, doing the Black Crowes to Bad Company? Was that quite a transition for you?
Actually, what's kind of funny is when I started the Black Crowes tribute, I wasn't even looking to be in a tribute band. I was just looking to play.
Yeah.
And my voice naturally sounds like Chris Robinson, so I don't even have to really try,
yeah.
And I sound like Chris Robinson. So when I switched over to doing the Paul Rogers stuff, which Paul Rogers, as everybody knows, is an amazing singer, I just had to change my tone a bit, and I already am very soulful. I played in a lot of black gospel choirs for like 17 years. I was in a lot of black gospel choirs. So I just had to kind of change the tone, but it's not much of a difference because they're both very soulful singers.
Yeah.
Chris is just more raw. And Paul's more polished, I guess you could say.
Yeah, more of a bluish thing going on. And I was curious, being a guy who's played mostly in gospel bands and that, talk a little bit about your decision to, give it a shot at doing the tribute thing, because again, a lot of reason why I talk to guys like you in tribute bands is there's a huge percentage of people out there that have a misconception that guys such as yourself that play tribute bands, that you guys are failed musicians, you're making a living, playing other people's music. But my experience has been going to these tribute shows is there's a lot of hard work and dedication that goes into putting on these shows. So I guess what I'm asking, from a guy that's done mostly gospel music, what made you want to give the tribute scene a shot?
Well, like I said, when I was in my from 18 till the mid 20s. I was born and raised in Napa, which is over San Francisco Bay Area, and I played in a lot of rock and roll bands, and I got into some pretty heavy stuff, and I just kind of needed to change in some direction, so I just started kind of going to this church with this guy, and that got me involved in the gospel. It was a Pentecostal church, and they're really musical, and so my whole style and my whole mind opened up to this other kind of singing, as opposed to the Halford and all the stuff I used to really be into.
Yeah.
And so that really really opened my eyes. And then I started listening to a lot of Marvin Gaye, a lot of Aretha Franklin, and a lot of all of that kind of stuff, which I still do. And so I moved out to Arizona, and I kind of, was out of the scene for a while. And I just kind of got the itch again, and I was like, I want to kind of play some music again. So I started playing with a couple guys, just messing around, and it wasn't really going anywhere. So I looked at Craigslist, of course, like everybody does, and there was a guy looking for a singer for a Black Crowes tribute. Well, it was such an easy transition to sing that, and I was not looking at singing a tribute band until I started playing with this guy, Greg Bronson, our guitar player, and misconceptions about it, that it was just like they were cover bands.
Yeah.
But it's not anything like that. Tribute bands are not cover bands. Tribute bands are paying homage to these great bands that either you're not going to be able to ever see again, or that if you see them, they're just not what they were. So, and unfortunately, Bad Company, Paul Rogers can still do it at 65 years old. The guy can tear it up. But when you come to a tribute show, and our shows, or a lot of these great Queen Nation, all these great tribute bands, in Southern California and around, you're getting to see almost like the satellite band of that band.
Yeah.
And most of the time doing what they really can't do anymore.
Yeah.
It's great. It's not anything like a cover band. It's amazing. The more attention to detail you pay close attention to, the better the show is. And also you get a lot of freedom, especially with the Bad Company thing. There's a lot of freedom to be ourselves in that too, and to feel a lot of. It's not like like when the Elvis impersonators come out and stuff, and not knocking those guys, but it's not like that. If you've never been to a tribute show, it's serious. So there's a lot of emotion, and there's a lot of feeling in the music, and it's we're really performing, and we're really giving it and leaving it all on the stage. But we just happen to be emulating this band that we all love.
Yeah, I mean, I equivalent it to I like to call it rock and roll theater, because like you're saying, a cover band, they might get up there and they might play a Bon Jovi song, a Tom Petty song, Rolling Stone song, whereas a tribute's like you guys, in particular, you're paying tribute to Bad Company, and so to start with, you guys yourselves are fans of that music, and so you kind of have a heart and soul. You get up on a stage and you're really putting together a tight show. You're kind of helping people hear the music of Bad Company, if you will, because even though Bad Company is still touring, they don't tour as often as they used to.
Right.
And for a lot of people, seeing a band like you guys might be the next best thing, because who can afford $100 ticket to see the real Bad Company or whatever?
Exactly right.
And so let me ask you, like when you started doing the Black Crowes and stuff, I was curious, is that something that, right away that you decided that, we want to do more than just get up here and play the songs. We want to, I want to look like Chris Robinson. I want to, go the whole 9 yards. Is that something that was important to you guys from the get-go?
With the Black Crowes thing, you're saying?
Yeah, or even what you're doing today,
Well, with the Black Crowes thing, it's hard for me to look like Chris Robinson because Chris Robinson is tall and very thin and has a real certain look about him. If you're a Kiss tribute, you can put makeup on, you can look like Kiss.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, and it's so funny because Nick, when he first saw our promo video, said, I have to say, Brad, because Nick speaks very, he's a very intelligent guy, so, it's funny how he words things. He said something like, it's astonishing how much Brad looks like Paul Rogers. So it's much easier for me to pull off the Paul Rogers look-wise.
Yeah.
Because of I look now. Of course, nobody looks exactly like somebody, but I look more like Paul Rogers than I do with the Chris Robinson thing. I sounded a lot like Chris Robinson, and I sound like Paul Rogers also.
Yeah.
But with the Black Crowes tribute we were doing, we were mainly just sounding like him. We weren't really getting serious trying to look like him.
Yeah.
With this band, we kind of stepped it up, and we really said, you know what? Let's try to get into the flow of this thing, and let's get into the circle, and let's see how far we can go with this, and try to get in some casinos and some different places, and really do Bad Company, where people leave saying, wow, that was close to what I would expect to see when I saw Bad Company, So, that's,
Yeah, I was curious, getting back to the Black Crowes tribute for a minute. A lot of these tribute bands, they need to have a little niche, and I think, like there's, for example, there's thousands of Deep Purple tributes, there's thousands of, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin tributes. Now you take a band like the Black Crowes, I'm on the, Facebook and everything, always looking up different tribute bands, and I myself have not come across too many Black tribute bands. So is that something that was kind of working for you guys, or did it kind of work the other way, where you get people saying, oh, well, the Black Crowes aren't as popular as they used to be, and a lot of people aren't maybe into that music anymore? How
Actually, I think if we would have had this group of guys doing that, I think it would have went far. And I think you hit on a good point there. There is an overabundance of Led Zeppelin tributes, and not just that. There's a bunch of really good Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Motley Crue tributes and all these different ones. The Black Crowes have amazing music. They're one of my top 5. I put them up with Zeppelin and all those bands. They were amazing
Oh,
bands.
yeah.
And
No doubt.
I think that because there's not that many, if you did it right, you could really do a good job with it. And the funny thing is with the Bad Company thing, every show we play, people come up to me after the show and they say, hey, I'm a Bad Company fan. You played so many songs that I didn't know were Bad Company, and I knew the song. And that happens at every show. And it is amazing to play it and to have people recognize that they actually like Bad Company and they didn't even know that the song was Bad Company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing about what you guys do, because I mean, of course, everybody's probably heard, Can't Get Enough of Your Love and Moving On and all those and all those big radio hits. But then they got the deep cuts and stuff, and stuff that people probably heard before, and they're like, who is that band? I've heard that song before. Oh, that's right. Oh, okay, Bad Company. And that's great about what you guys are doing. You're keeping the legacy going, and you're reminding people of this great band, Bad Company. And you were saying earlier that there aren't an overabundance of Bad Company tributes out there right now. Do you think that's partly because Paul Rodgers and the boys are still out there touring?
I think it could be, but if you look, there's lots of Leonard Skinner tributes that are still out there touring.
Yeah.
And there's so I think it could be. I think also that Paul's hard to pull off. He's got he's amazing. He's got a really distinct voice that is him right away. Plant is one of my favorite singers of all time, but there's a lot of people that can do Plant, not exactly, but they can really do, because he does a lot. He's really raw, and he does a lot of the really kind of not screaming, but the real kind of the Plant stuff. And a lot of people pull that real whiny stuff off. But with Paul, you have to really be able to sing to do Paul, because he really does sing. If you listen, there's so many little nuances in his voice and all the little stuff he does. And I think that's part of it, is that it's really hard to pull off Paul. I also think, I'm sure that a part of it might be that they're touring around, but I don't think it's as much as the other reasons. And I don't know, but I sit on YouTube and I looked at almost every band I could find, and there's some really good Bad Company tribute bands out there. But in all reality, the look-wise and the sound-wise, the singers don't sound like Paul. They sing really, really good, but they don't sound like Paul. And I don't know if they're necessarily trying to look like Bad Company. They're more like a cover band that plays Bad Company songs. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Now, let me ask you, being a Paul Rodgers fan, I got to ask, what did you think of, Paul Rodgers and Queen getting together? I mean, were you a fan of that? Because, I think he's definitely a great singer in that, and it kind of amazed me that, a lot of people didn't like it. To me, I
was shocked.
To me, it's kind of just like, maybe as great of a singer as he is, people just have, they just think of Freddie Mercury as the singer or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it'd be the same thing if Paul Rodgers had passed away and Freddie Mercury joined Bad Company. It probably would have been the same thing. I think Paul did a great job with Queen. I don't think, and they billed it as Queen and Paul Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think if you look what they did, they weren't trying to say we're replacing Freddie.
Oh, yeah,
they were trying to say, look, this sounds different. This is Paul Rodgers singing with Queen. And I think Freddie Mercury would have been all for it. And, what's funny is we actually pull out some Queen songs every once in a while. We'll throw some Tie Your Mother Down or something, and I sing it like Paul would. So that's always, I'm glad he did that. So we could throw a couple in there just to get the crowd going sometimes.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool thing, too. They actually covered some of the Bad Company stuff, when he was with Queen. If you got a chance to see that DVD or listen to the CD, I thought that's kind of an interesting take. Now, do you see that as much like as a tribute band, as some people might say, or do you think that's just a band trying to, keep their legacy alive?
Do Queen?
Yeah.
Do I see Queen as a band?
Well, a lot of people. A lot of people, they criticize it. Queen, they're just trying to, get a famous name in there, and they're just really a tribute act. But I didn't really see it that way, like you said. I kind of seen it. The band was trying to, go out there and play their music.
Yeah, I think that they can do what they want. They've earned the right to play whatever they want. Look, if you're not done done, you're not done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're still good, why should you quit? You know, and you just got to not worry about what people say. People are showing up to their concerts; they're doing great. You know, I'm not a big Adam Lambert fan. I don't really think that. You know, I mean, Paul. That's one thing. If you're gonna put somebody in there, and instead of Freddie Mercury, and you want to still play, well, you really aren't going to replace Freddie Mercury. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do would go a whole different direction. Say, you know what? Let's go get another God, and let's put him in there, and let's have it be Paul Rogers and Queen, and let's have it be a whole different, you know, a different thing. And obvious that we're not trying to replace what we have, because everybody knows what Freddie Mercury was. So I think they went about it the absolutely right way. He was in the band for 5 years, and they did a whole album of original stuff that people don't really realize. But no, I think they can do what they want. And I think they did it absolutely. I think they did it in a great way.
Yeah, I think even, you know, if you look at you know, when Paul was doing the Queen thing, you know, the great thing about that is, and even Adam Lambert, is that shows you that, you know, what great songs those are. That, you know, anybody could get up on the stage that's got a decent voice and perform those songs, and everybody's going to know the words of those songs. So I was going to ask you, as far as you guys, you know, in Soul on Fire, is there much of a tribute scene out there in Arizona? Because, you know, like you're saying, in LA, where I'm from, the tribute scene here is just really huge. I mean, we do have bands like you were mentioning, Led Zeppelin, and you know, there's Queen Nation. That's another big one, and actually Led Zeppelin. Interesting enough, I interviewed the singer Swan, and he was telling me that they actually were at the filming of that Celebration Day thing, that the band actually invited him and his band to you know, go see that. And I think that's totally just cool. If you can imagine just being a tribute band that does Led Zeppelin, and the actual the actual band, you know, invites you to film in one of their final shows. You know, that's like just the ultimate compliment to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. As far as the tribute scene in Arizona, I think it's it's not anywhere near a tribute scene like there is in Southern California. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of at a disadvantage right away, because we do play places in Arizona. We just played a festival in California, in Northern California. That was really cool, the Porch Fest. And that was cool. We had the biggest crowd of the day, and it was like, I don't know, 300 bands, something like that. And it's not like it was there. We really would like to get into the circuit, but like I say, we're at a bit of a disadvantage. And I mean, you're seeing your promo video, and you know what you're capable of. So you're thinking, don't they see what we see?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get into the circle being from Arizona, because all of the booking agencies, all the people that book for the casinos and everything, most of them are based out of Southern California. Even though they book in casinos in Arizona. So we're really trying to get our foot in the door. And we're trying to do everything we can by doing it. If we were out there, I think that we would be much further along than where we are right now. But that's not going to happen right now. But in all reality, Arizona's not that far. We're 6 hours from you guys. If we're planning on doing some weekend jaunts over there, and maybe playing 2 or 3 shows while we're there, and kind of getting their name out. And I think with the Bad Company thing, you got to remember with a tribute, as opposed to an original band, you're not really trying to build your fan base. You've already got their fan base.
Yeah.
You're trying to get their fans to notice that you're doing a tribute band to the band they enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the thing, is that, you know, it's so much harder with an original band. So there's millions and millions. As a matter of fact, when you talked about the difference between the Black Crowes and the Bad Company tributes, and it was hard to, you know, start the Black Crowes and people were into it. When I said that we're starting a Bad Company, every person I talk to, and still to this day, when I say, oh, I'm in a Bad Company tribute, the answer is always, I love Bad Company. I love Bad Company, from every single person. So there's millions of Bad Company fans out there. We've just got to tap into it and find the right, you know, person or agency that can open the door for us to get us out there and get us playing with some of these top tributes, like you mentioned.
Yeah, let me ask you, being a Paul Rogers fan, are you equally into the stuff he did with Free?
We do quite a bit of Free too, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just a Paul Rogers fan. Matter of fact, I think it's amazing, because if you look at Free and what Paul was, and now to where he's at now, he has changed his whole singing style. And he went in Free, he was more like a Black Crowes kind of raw, kind of just as good of a singer, but a whole different thing.
Yeah.
and the whole drug era and all that stuff of the times back then, and you can hear how his voice has changed and how he sounds now, even at this age, how amazing and how much he's changed. I love the Free, I love the Firm, I love all the stuff he's done. Paul Rogers has a magical voice that it's just so rich and amazing that when you hear it, you know, it's just like, who is that? You know?
Yeah.
Who is that singer right there? You know, who's, you know, and you know, when he's finally gone one day, I don't think we'll ever hear anybody that'll replace Paul Rogers.
Yeah, and so I got to ask you because, Brad, I assume that you guys kind of manage yourselves and you book your own shows, or do you have an agent that helps you with that?
Well, we have a manager that helps us, and we have an agency that we work with that's just very, very small called Arizona Pro Shows.
Yeah.
We have a manager, Larry Reese, that does a lot of our booking and helps us. But like I say, you know, we're reaching out to the different booking agencies. There's a couple in Southern California, but it's like I say, they get bombarded with tributes. You know, so you know, you just got to kind of be persistent. You just got to keep being professional and put your product out there. And you know, and we just keep playing around. You know, we don't play everywhere.
Yeah.
Like some tributes do, and we try not to play every weekend. We try to space it out so people don't get saturated because we play a lot in Arizona. But yeah, to answer your question, we have a manager, booking agent that helps us out. But we would like to work, you know, with a bigger agency that has the keys to open up some of these casinos and some of these bigger venues to get us in there. Because this is the thing, once people see us, then they know.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then they know. Then they're like, wow, you guys are really good. Matter of fact, I just was on somebody came to our last show, the second to last show, and approached me after the show and said, hey, would you like to be on an urban music television show? And I go, yeah, that sounds great. So I actually sang on an urban music television show based out of Phoenix on Fox here in Phoenix.
Wow.
And I thought that was a compliment. So I sang Marvin Gaye, I sang some different stuff, and I think they're going to have us back with a little group. I'm just going to put together a little band and just do a bunch of James Brown and stuff. So it's kind of interesting how things work out. So, you know, people come to our show and they recognize the talent, you know, and they see it. And, you know, that's the whole thing, though, is getting people to see it when they're getting bombarded, especially bigger agencies with, you know, thousands of entries of tribute bands.
And you know, and are you at all surprised, like you were saying, that it's much easier to make it, you know, if you've got the talent and the right band behind you, to make it doing the tribute thing than as if you were trying to, you know, give it a shot with your own original music?
Oh, 100%. I think it's much easier because you've already got a built-in fan base, especially if you pick the right tribute. But you know what's really interesting is a lot of these tributes that are doing very, very well, they're really bands that I was never into, and I didn't know that they had huge fan bases.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I mean, Oingo Boingo tribute does really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I thought they only had 2 songs. You know what I'm saying? Not to put them down.
Yeah.
It's so hot. So you've really got to, you know, you got to find the right band. I think if you can find the right band, and that's why Bad Company appealed to me so much, because first of all, they're huge. They're hit makers. They've got at least 15 songs that are radio played.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's heard, and that's a huge base right there to play a set with. And we've got, you know, 2.5 hours of music right now and adding it all the time. So, and they've got a huge fan base. So we really think that if we could do this right, we've already got an edge because, number one, like I said, there's really no Bad Company tributes on the West Coast that I've seen that are really doing anything. And, you know, and number two is that, you know, it's Bad Company, you know, and they got a huge fan base. And number three, we got the talent. We you know, I happen to sound a lot like Paul. And I get compared to Bon Scott quite a bit.
That's funny.
It's kind of interesting that people compare me to that. But yeah, so I think we got a good thing going if we can do it right.
And I mean, you guys also got a certain responsibility to the fan base in the sense that, like you're saying, you know, for example, Bad Company fans are really, you know, they're almost like AC/DC fans. Are real hardcore, and you have people coming to a show and they're waiting for you to, you know, mess up with the lyric or, you know, do the wrong move or something, and they you got to have all the moves and and have all the lyrics and everything down, because people really come in and checking everything out. Oh, you didn't do like Paul Rogers did. You ever get that? Or
Yeah. Well, what's funny is people when they go to a show, they remember certain things. So if you can get a few things down of that singer, a few little tones that he uses, and a few little moves that he uses, that's kind of what people remember. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They remember like, oh yeah, and lucky with me, Paul actually does a lot of really powerful looking poses, as opposed to like David Lee Roth, where if you want to do a Van Halen tribute, like Tom Funk, they do a great job. Or what's a Van Halen, they do a great job too. That to be David Lee Roth, I mean that guy's got to really, you know what I mean? He's got to be limber. He's got to do all of that. Paul, he just kind of does his little powerful poses, which is kind of cool. I like that he does that. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. You do have to look, close to them, and the sound wise too. Pay, especially the singer with most of these bands. You can get away with guitar player unless you're Van Halen or something, but but the singer has to sound like when I listen to a band, the tributes. You're listening and you're waiting for the singer to start singing, and then you're either going to say he doesn't sound anything like that guy, or you're going to say, wow, he sounds a lot like that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the Atomic Punks, that's a great band to bring up, because they're one of the longest running tributes out here in LA, where they were one of the first tribute bands out here in the early 90s, and they're still going. And for people that don't know, their original lead singer was Ralph Senez, and he's now fronting, of course, Steel Panther. An interesting story about Ralph is he left the Punks for a while to go do LA Guns with Tracy Guns, and he had more success at the tribute thing. But he left LA Guns to go back to the Atomic Punks, and like I said, now he's doing Steel Panther. So that just goes to show you, you could be just as equally successful doing the tribute thing, if not more.
100%.
Yeah, and that's just another story I like to tell people is like I said, a lot of people, they have misconceptions about tribute bands, and all the ones I've been to, all the tribute shows I've been to, I've really enjoyed, and I always tell people a story, but I'll never forget the first time I seen this band, Hollywood Rose. They're actually obviously a Guns N' Roses tribute out of Hollywood, and the singer Colby Vale, he used to actually be Steven Adler's singer in his band for a while, and he looks dead on like Axl Rose from 1987, and that's probably as close as you're ever going to get to seeing Axl Slash perform on stage again. But
it's not gonna happen now, huh?
And I seen this show at the Whiskey, and I had to pinch myself. They looked the part. They were that good. I'm like, am I at a Guns N' Roses show? Took me back in time for a minute, back to 1987. And if you guys are that good of a tribute, that's what you can do for your audience,
Right. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
And I actually got to see Guns N' Roses on the Appetite for Destruction tour, so I got to see Axl when he was Axl. But what's funny is even that tribute, in some ways, he might have even been better than Axl, because when I saw Axl, he was drunk, and he was, I loved it, but he was, he wasn't, he didn't sound like he did on the record, he was just being kind of a punk, Axl was. So you see the tribute, you're almost going to see even a better show sometimes, a better sound than you would of the real band in some cases.
Yeah, I was curious, Brad, like when you guys go to do a set list, how hard is it for you guys to come up with a set list, as far as, obviously, like you said, you got to play the songs, the hits, like Can't Get Enough of Your Love and stuff everybody's familiar with. But does it ever get difficult as far as like, you personally want to throw a song in or a deep cut? How do you guys, even that out?
Well, Bad Company has so many songs that are actual that people have actually heard, or they didn't even know are Bad Company, that it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
We usually, with the sets, if we play 2 hours, that's a long set. We usually play an hour and a half, or we can play longer, but by the time we're done with Feel Like Making Love and Bad Company and putting all those songs in there, Can't Get Enough and Moving On and Running with the Pack and Gone, and just, there's more, there's so many Silver, Blue, and Gold, and there's, Deal with the Preacher. Right now, that's like 8 right there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run out of one. You're not going to run out of songs that people haven't really heard until you get past like 13 or 14, and then you get into the ones that the Bad Company fans have heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the like Live for the Music and stuff. And then we'll throw in a couple firm songs, Satisfaction Guaranteed, maybe Radioactive sometimes, and a couple free, to get people in there. Halloween or something. So it's a great band to have a tribute for, and that's why I was shocked when I saw that there's at least 5 Led Zeppelin tributes in Southern California. That are the top. The three of them are absolutely amazing. I mean, looks, sounds, everything. And I was shocked when I couldn't find a real good Bad Company tribute. Not even one that I was like, wow, not even one to compare with the Led Zeppelin tributes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so like,
and it was shocking to me. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
So like, let me ask you, when you guys, go to book a show or are offered a gig or something, how many times do you have to like really audition to, for that gig, or is it more, you guys do Bad Company, okay, there's not too many Bad Company bands out here, okay, we like you guys on our bill or whatever. What's the process usually like when you, go to get a gig or something?
Well, we play a lot in Phoenix. We play a lot in Scottsdale, places like that. When we've only been around gigging for about 6 months now, so we're way ahead of the curve. When I tell people that, they're like, "You guys only been playing that long?" And it's like, yeah, it's just, when you're professional musicians, it sounds good, So it's not that hard because in this area we already have a pretty good rapport with the clubs we want to play at. And we don't want to play at every club. We only want to play at certain clubs. We only play every couple months. So it's not difficult for us. And we have a good promo. I think we'll probably do another one before too long, but the one we have is good. It's very professional. It looks good. It gives you the gist of it. It's a montage of some of their hits, and so it's not difficult. The thing that we're finding difficult is when you want to play at a casino, because what you run into is that there's one agency that books all the tributes to that casino, and if you're not with that agency, you're not going to get a show at the casino. So that's a whole different ballgame. That's what we're trying to overcome right now. As opposed to where we play here, we play at different places, and because we have a good rapport, and they know us from other bands, or they've seen, if they see our promo, most of the time somebody other band has seen us, they'll click our link and they'll call our manager and say, yeah, we want them to come play. That's what they usually say when they see the promo. So. I think it's easier here. In Southern California, they'd probably be, once you start branching out there, it'd probably be a little more difficult because they'd be more skeptical. But I think, like I say, when they see the video and read the reviews and stuff, I think that they would be open to it.
I mean, I could see you guys doing real good out here as far as like, doing a show with, like Led Zeppelin or something like that. I think that would be a Bad Company, Led Zepp. That'd be really a killer show. And so like when you guys do local shows in Arizona, do you ever do shows with other tribute bands out there?
Actually, most of the time we try to team up with another tribute. There's some good ones out here. There's a Motley Crue tribute out here called Public Enemy Number One.
Oh, okay.
Great tribute. The guy sounds dead on like Vince. He looks a lot like Vince. They sound like him. They look like him. You know what I mean? That we'll play with them sometimes. We play with a Tom Petty guy. I think he changed his name. Breakdown, I think, was the name of the band. Guy looks dead on like Tom, and that's half the fight right there. People come in and go, that guy looks just like Tom Petty, and then he sounds just like Tom Petty, and they do a great job. So to answer your question, yes, we really try to team up with tributes because I think it's great to go out and see a show and you go, hey, I get to see Led Zeppelin and Bad Company tonight. You know what I mean? As opposed to we played with cover bands before, but we like to team up with tributes. I think it makes for a better night.
Yeah, I mean, I could even see you guys, like you said, with the Tom Petty tribute or something like that. And the cool thing about the Motley Crue tributes out there, being that they're on their farewell tour, whatever this is, the final tour, they're not going to be touring as much, if ever again. So for the Motley Crue fans, I'm sure you're going to see a whole new crop of Motley Crue tributes come, because that's usually what happens. And as you see yourself being in the tribute scene, I mean, tribute bands are always, popping up, new ones. Like you said, you guys have been doing it for the last, 8 months, and it's amazing that there's not too many other Bad Company tributes. So what do you remember, Brad, about your first show you guys put on? How happy did you feel the show went off, when that first show came to an end?
Well, the first show we played was at a place called The Blues in Phoenix here. And that's actually, we're going to be playing there in December. Great place, great owner. And I was happy with the show, but you find out a lot got the music down. I think, what we're working on now, and what I felt we needed to work on in that first show was trying to be as much like them as we could. And that's where you got to really, and you find out, okay, next show, let's have you stand over here on this side, and you do this. And you find the things out. So the first show was great. Everybody loved it. It was packed. We played with the Manga Crew guys. That was the first show. And they draw big, too. And so it was great, but I just felt like we needed to tighten some stuff up. We played, the show before this one, where we played, I enjoyed the show, but I thought we kind of regressed a little bit. This last show we just played, we're really pulling it together now. This was our best show. Crowd-wise, it wasn't as good as when we played the blues, but there's still good crowds in some places, which are great. But we still drew pretty good for not having a built-in crowd at the club.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. My outfits are getting more like Paul. I had to find the generations. I had to find the look of Paul that fits me closest, because he has so many different looks throughout his career. So I think the first show was good. I think we've really started to pull it together now. We're starting to really function as a band and really gelling together. And I think we're ready to take that next step. It's just finding the way to get there.
Yeah, let me ask you about your guitar player, Nick Sterling, because, it's interesting when you mentioned his name when you first started the interview. I'd heard the name before, and then you said Sebastian Bach. I remember seeing him on that metal show with Sebastian, and, so you look like a young kid at the time, but, do you ever get, you must get people that know who he is, come to his shows, his fan base. I was curious how you guys hooked up with him.
Well, Nick is an interesting guy. He is the most talented guy. He's a prodigy, obviously, from when he was a kid. But he's not, most of us are like, especially when you're in your 20s, you're hungry and you're just driving to get it. Nick is just playing music and having fun. And it's the oddest thing. There's without naming names, there's some major acts that have contacted him in the last several months, and he was like, I'm having a baby, and I'm kind of cool right now, and he just kind of turned him down, and I was like, holy crap, man! If you knew the name of the band, you'd be like, what? Yeah, and so he's just a chill guy, and at this point in his life, he's just happy, and he's just playing an art tribute, and he's in a Led Zeppelin tribute, and he does some original stuff with another band that plays around the Phoenix area, and they got a pretty good following. So he's just kind of happy to do it. And the reason we got hooked up with him is because we played with the Black Crowes tribute with the Led Zeppelin tribute out here named Songbirds to Sing.
Okay.
And it was a really great show. And Nick played keys. He doesn't even play guitar for him. He plays keys.
Oh, wow.
And they have a guy that looks just like Jimmy Page that plays guitar. And so, time went on, and Larry is really good friends, the manager, with Nick. Well, anyway, we were starting this Bad Company tribute, and I was looking for guitars and somebody that could play guitars and keys, because I don't play keys.
Wow.
And he said, hey, I think Nick would do it. And that's how we got hooked up. And so Nick said, yeah, why not? So he came in, and it worked, and, he picks up his stuff in 5 seconds, so, and, he knows a lot of Bad Company stuff, so that's, we kind of just, from word of mouth, I guess, and from other bands, it's, how it always works out. You meet him in another band, and he's still in the band he was in. It's just that he plays stuff now also.
That's kind of amazing, because I knew he left Sebastian's band, and you think a guy like that, you said, would be doing like a Nick Sterling solo monster guitar shred album or something. But it's kind of cool to hear that he's just having fun, doing the Bad Company thing and being involved in these other projects. He's not really looking to get his name out there. And it's totally a cool thing, to have a guy of that caliber, playing your band.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's an amazing singer. He's an amazing drummer. Shreds on guitar. And it's funny, he's known for the Sebastian Bach stuff, but his style, if you had to look at him, and by me being with him, he's way into Sly and the Family Stone and all that kind of funky stuff. He's from a whole different generation, even though he's only in his 20s.
Yeah.
Like, he really digs the music of the 70s, and though he was in the metal with the Bach and all the bands and different things, if you watch him play, just play, he's really into, the more bluesy, soulful kind of stuff. You know, he'll play a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and he sings great. You know, he has a great voice. The backing vocals of this band are really, really good, and Nick really is a big reason why. So, you know, it's just he's an interesting guy. You know, he's very intelligent. Just you know, he's not looking for fame right now.
And you know, what's that like? You know, having a guy in the band that's that much younger. I mean, being that you guys are all musicians, do you even think about that, or is it just a matter of it, you guys are all in the same band and you're doing your thing together?
Yeah, you know how like if you have a friend that's really short, and first meet him, you think he's really short, and after a while you don't even notice he's short anymore. It's kind of like that, you know. I never think of Nick as being young. I just think of him as being a friend of mine, you know. And,
that's cool. That's cool.
He's very intellectual, and he's very well versed in music. So when you speak to him, you know, you talk to him. I mean, he's light years beyond most people in music. He understands everything. All you know, he's just deep into it. So you know, he's not your typical 20-something-year-old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a genius when it comes to music.
I was curious if you ever had the opportunity to try to jam with him on anything original, because one thing I know is that album he did with Sebastian Bach, besides, you know, the awesome guitar playing he did on there, he did a lot of the songwriting. I know he's a pretty good songwriter.
It's great.
Yeah, and so I was going to ask you, Brad, as far as you going, is Soul on Fire, is that your main gig? Do you have any other bands going, or do you have a day job to help, you know, keep the band going, or is this what you do full time?
I wish this is what I did full time. If we lived somewhere else, it probably would do what I did full time, but because of the area, it's not as thumping as Southern California and other areas. I drive a truck in the day, and as the other music, I'm working to kind of work out a deal with that TV show here in Phoenix, and get on there kind of every once in a while. And I think what's going to end up happening, hopefully, is that I think Nick's going to be playing some guitar on it. Maybe we'll get a couple horns, and
Cool.
we got a guy who wants to play drums really good, and maybe a bass player that me and Nick know, and kind of playing that funky stuff. So I do have a lot of original stuff, but right now it's Soul on Fire. I'm kind of putting everything into that. But as opposed to the other thing, when I go into other venues of music, it tends to be more like more R&B, rockin' kind of stuff. You know, a little more rockin', but kind of that avenue as opposed to going more, you know, heavy or whatever. But nope, this is Soul on Fire, and just what I'm trying to get together with this show that wants to put me on there.
Well, I want to wish you all the luck with it, because I think it's really great that there's finally a great Bad Company tribute out there, and it's something that's really been lacking, you know, for a while now, and I think you guys are keeping the, you know, Bad Company legacy alive, and that's a really great thing, and you know, so I'll look to you in the world. And the great thing about what you're doing is like you're saying, you know, people might have this thing, he's trying to live off somebody else's music. You're just doing what you love and playing the music you love and playing the music of your, you know, heroes. Like you said, you're a working man. You got a day job, and your day job allows you to do this on the side, and you have a little bit of fun doing it, and you make a little bit of money along the way. You know, that's the great thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, well, Brad, you know, it's really been great talking to you. I want to thank you for taking time to do this. I can't thank you enough. Like I said, if you send me your email later through the Facebook page, I'll be sure to send you a copy of the interview via MP3 file, and I'll let you know the minute it gets posted, and maybe we can do this down the line. But thanks again for taking time to do this. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, thank